we're going to go over the basic parts of the sewing machine. For the left side of the table is the on-off switch. So you can see the light illuminates when the sewing machine is on and it's ready to sew. If you have problems, turn off. We have the machine head, and there's a few knobs and adjustments and functions on here. On the right side here, this is the reverse lever. So the normal position is all the way up. That's for forward sewing. If you depress this fully, the machine will sew in reverse. And by holding this along a continuum, like if you hold in the middle, the machine will just sew, will have a 0 stitch length. Just above it here is the stitch length adjuster. In order to easily adjust the stitch length, I recommend pushing down lightly on the reverse lever, and that will remove all the load and you're able to adjust the stitch length. On this machine, 5 is the longest stitch length and 0 is the shortest. You'll notice at a very short stitch length here, the reverse lever doesn't push up and down very far. And if we have maximum stitch length, there is the maximum amount of travel with the reverse lever. We're going to leave it set for kind of a middle setting. One of the main adjustments here is the upper thread tension. So that's in another video you can see how to properly set the top thread tension. Other things on the machine head, this knob on top adjusts the spring pressure of the presser foot, and that controls how much clamping force there is on the material that you're sewing. If you're having feeding problems with the material, this is a good place to start. With heavier materials, you need to run more pressure, so that means tightening the screw down all the way. With very light materials, you'll want to back the screw off a considerable amount. We're just going to leave it at an intermediate setting here that should work for most things. Now our foot is lifted up off of the feed dog here just a little bit, and there's a little lever on the back side of the machine that enables the foot to drop. So this is one of the foot lift mechanisms on this machine, and this one won't be used very often. Primarily on these machines for lifting the foot, you'll want to use the knee lift here, and so by moving your knee side to side, you can see how the foot lifts. And you'll achieve the highest foot lift with the machine by using the knee lift. Another important item on the machine head is the hand wheel here on the right side of the machine, and the hand wheel allows you to manually turn over the machine and make the needle rise and fall. So you will use the hand wheel almost every time you sew to get the needle in the proper position. Also note that I'm turning the hand wheel over towards myself. That's what you want to do 99% of the time. There's an important relationship between the hand wheel, the throttle pedal, and the motor. The motor down here underneath the machine has a brake that actually stops and holds the machine in place. The hand wheel will be difficult to turn, if not impossible to turn, unless you put very light pressure on the pedal. So when you put just very light pressure on the pedal, the brake releases and the hand wheel will become very easy to turn. But if the pedal is not depressed, it will be very difficult to turn the hand wheel. So just keep that in mind, just a light pressure. When you're learning to sew, you'll want to play with how much foot pressure is needed to get the machine to turn on its own. On the motor, we have some speed adjustments. This is what's called a servo motor. So we have these various speed settings, and these are in revolutions per minute. If you're beginning sewing probably in the 600 stitch per minute, like under 1,000 RPM is a good idea. These are just the RPMs of the motor. There's some gearing that makes the sewing machine actually run about twice as fast as these indicated numbers here. You'll be able to tune this to a speed that is suitable for your skill level and the parts you're working on. This is a high-speed industrial sewing machine. And as such, it has an oil sump holding about a quart of oil. It has an oil pump here, and these machines are designed to run up to about 6,000 stitches a minute, almost 100 stitches a second. Everything's happening really, really fast, and the oil helps keep all the mechanical parts lubricated in the machine. You should probably you'll basically never need to add oil or adjust anything. Just try to keep this area clean if you're tipping the head back to change bobbins. To check if the machine is receiving proper lubrication, there's this window in the top of the machine head, and I'm going to turn up the speed here so we get oil into the top end. But when the machine is sewing, a stream of oil will squirt up onto the window, only during high speed sewing.